If you live in a high cost of living area, you may think you can't afford to buy a home. Not only can you buy a home, I'm going to say you absolutely can't afford not to. In this video, I'm going to tell you how you can do it just like I did. And at the end, I'm going to reveal my #1 best way to buy in a high cost of living area to not only buy a home to live in, but also to have a rental at the same time. Okay, so you live in a high cost of living area, or maybe you just moved into one, and you might be wondering how you can ever afford to buy a home. But let's be real here. Unless you're currently living with family or splitting expenses with roommates, you already are paying a high price for rent. Why not exhaust every single option to start paying your own mortgage instead of your landlord's? My first suggestion is to adjust your expectations. It's very common for buyers to start off thinking that they need to buy a detached home with 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. But in a high cost of living area, this might not be possible as your first home purchase. Now, I understand that if you have a family and some kids, you might actually need 3 bedrooms, and of course, that makes sense, but you still have options. When I bought my first home, I was a single 20-something living in Googleville, Mountain View. It's a very high cost of living place, but it's also my hometown. And at the time, most of my family and friends still lived there or close by. I could have bought a bigger place in another city, like Sunnyvale, Santa Clara, Milpitas, San Jose, Livermore, etc., for a lot less money. But at the time, I didn't want to. So instead, I opted to buy a very small 1-bedroom condo. It was just me and my dog, so I didn't really need a house or more bedrooms. Now, I will mention that this was not my first choice. Of course, I wanted a house like everybody else. I'd actually tried to persuade a friend or two and even a cousin into buying a house together, and at the time, we could have easily done it right there in Mountain View. But the timing wasn't right, and that just didn't work out for a lot of reasons. So I went with the only other option I could afford, which was to buy a small condo. So if you have more people in your household than just yourself, you may need a bigger place. But there are a lot of condos and townhomes with 2, 3, and even 4 bedrooms. Some, but not all, tend to be lower priced than buying a detached single-family home in the same area. The benefit to buying a condo or townhome is that they tend to require less maintenance than a single-family home. There's less yard space that you're responsible for, so less of your time will be spent pulling weeds or cleaning up your yard. That's a big perk if you spend a lot of time working and want to spend your free time with friends and family. But if you have your heart set on a single-family home but can't afford exactly what you want, adjust your expectation. Maybe find a smaller home or one that hasn't been updated since it was built 50 years ago. You can always update a home later. My next suggestion is to buy a home with the intention of house hacking. No, I don't mean to buy it and hack it up. House hacking can work in a number of different ways, so let me give you a few examples. Let's say you qualify for a loan on a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single-family home, which is what you'd really like to buy, but that monthly payment is much higher than you're really comfortable paying. Well, having roommates isn't just for renters. Homeowners can have roommates too. Take a look at what rooms rent for in your area and see if it makes your monthly expenses more comfortable. In high cost of living areas, I've seen rooms rent for $1,000 to $1,500 a month, and sometimes even more. I know not everyone wants to live with roommates, but don't think of it as a forever situation. This is a solution that gets you into home ownership and into a home that's more like what you have your heart set on, perhaps a home that you will own longer too. In a few years, you may have more income and not need the roommates anymore, or maybe your family will grow or circumstances will change, and you'll have another income earner in the family. You could even refinance your loan after a few years, after you've built up some equity. And assuming interest rates are favorable, maybe your payment will be more affordable too. And here's my bonus tip for buying in a high cost of living area. Buy a detached single-family home in a city that allows for flexible ADU permitting, and search for a house that has an existing floor plan that would work well to create a separate rental unit. This is my version of house hacking on steroids. When I look at homes, I always envision how the floor plan might be reconfigured to create a separate studio or an in-law type of space. Is there a place for an exterior door that makes sense as an entrance so that your renter can have a separate entrance? Does it have a bathroom just for that separate space? Is there an ideal space that you can add a small kitchenette? Is it possible to separate the heating and air conditioning so that that area has separate controls? In fact, this just worked out recently for a client of mine. We found a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo, and we went to see it, and I immediately realized that the main bedroom could easily be converted into a separate studio apartment. This unit just so happened to already have an exterior door from the main bedroom, and the bedroom had 2 closets. Once he bought it, he converted one of the closets into a small kitchenette area. It already had a separate heater in that room, and the only thing left to do is to change the bedroom door so that it was more secure, solid privacy door if he wanted to rent it out separately. He has lots of options now with this layout, and if he needs to rent it out for financial reasons, he has that option. Since I bought my first 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo, I've moved several times. I'm a proponent of owning rental property, and as of now, we currently own several. When I'm considering a single family home, I always look at the floor plan to see how I might get 2 separate spaces out of one house. Now, I may not do it right away, but it gives me peace of mind to know that if money gets tight, I can create some extra income from a property I already have. Now, I know not everyone sees what I see when I look at floor plans, but if this strategy to home ownership appeals to you, then you just found the best agent to work with. And that's me. Don't let living in a high cost of living area prevent you from achieving home ownership. I'm Maria Dura, the Bay Area real estate mom. If you're looking for buying or selling a home in the Bay Area, I'd love to have a conversation with you. All my contact information is in the description below. Also, don't forget to like this video and leave me a comment, and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I post new videos on my channel. And I'll see you in the next video.